Star Trek Discovery is over. Oh my gosh, let's clap for that, everybody. Thank God. And it's been about a week to digest all of it, and nobody's talking about it. The internet was completely silent regarding Star Trek Discovery's finale. I did a review on it if you want to go check that out. It was really a boring finale. They botched the writing pretty hard on that level, but you can check out that, as I said, if you want to get the full details there. Now, they're lamenting why this was not a success. And when you see talk like this, you know that it really wasn't a success, because these people, Alex Kurtzman, all of them, when they go out there, they are meant to spin their products and say that it was a success, no matter what. You always see that. You saw that with Disney this morning with The Acolyte, with its viewership numbers lower than Doctor Who's premiere. Crazy. Spinning that as some kind of success, even though like the audience scores real bad, the viewer numbers are the lowest ever for Star Wars. It's nutty. And so that's what you would expect here. You'd expect, oh, everybody loved Star Trek Discovery. It was fantastic. But they're admitting here, Alex Kurtzman is saying it didn't connect with, quote, some fans. That's a big deal. When you're out there talking about why it didn't connect, that means it didn't connect with most fans, because otherwise they wouldn't be giving this kind of interview and trying to use that kind of soft language to explain its failure. Very, very interesting right there. So you get into this interview right here, which is on slashfilm.com, and he talks about why. And again, they just missed the point, and it's intentionally so. Kurtzman here, who has ruined Star Trek, co-showrunner of Trek at Paramount Plus, spoke frankly about the show's initially so-so reception. Look at the initially so-so reception. Everybody hated it. And he thought why it might not have worked for Trek fans at first. Now, it didn't work for Trek fans all the way through. It was a big train wreck. Now, the first season was very, very bad, but I think seasons 3 and 4 really were the worst. They were almost insufferable. Season 2 was almost watchable because they brought in Spock. And they did that to, of course, bring the member berries back because they knew it was failing, right? And then season 5 was an outstretched episode that really should have been one episode, and it didn't work very well. So that's the whole of Discovery right there. People tuned out and they stopped caring about it. They had apathy because it was so bad. It wasn't that at first it wasn't working. It was the entire time. Before we get into this too much, I'm a science fiction writer myself, and that's why I, of course, am so sad about the way Star Trek's gone. Star Trek was my big thing growing up, and I wrote a trilogy, Justified Saga of the Nano Templar, which is a wonderful science fiction epic trilogy. If you like what great science fiction used to be before it became this nonsense that Kurtzman's promoting or what they're doing in Star Wars, you'll love this book. So go check this out in the description below. I've got a full trilogy here on Amazon. You can see all of them right here. And we've also got it available on ebook, print, and audio for your reading pleasure, however you like it. Grab that link, and I appreciate you guys for being there. Hit the like and subscribe button as well, because I want you to join our little fun science fiction community here. We're having great times despite the mainstream culture, and we're just getting started. Things are really awesome. Thank you for being here. Okay, so he says, I think people felt it was too dark. Now, this is pretty funny. I love when they use this kind of language because they have to be very careful about it when they're talking about something being too dark, because, I always like to refer to Discovery as blacks and gays in space. And that's exactly what it ended up being. So when you talk about it being too dark, oh no, Michael, that's kind of racist, isn't it? But he means in the sense that it was edgy and gritty and all that, which doesn't feel like Star Trek. And that was one of the primary complaints about the show, and it remained the case. And he tries to defend that, turning it into generic, dark, gritty science fiction show, which we've seen over and over again. I mean, they tried to make it feel more like Star Wars. That's really what they did. And it doesn't work in a Star Trek universe. It's just, it's painful. You can look at that, and you can look at like The Expanse, or look at Battlestar Galactica, or look at what was the one on sci-fi? Dark Matter. They all kind of have the same look and feel to them as a generic, gritty, dark sci-fi thing. And that's exactly what they did with Discovery. It didn't feel uniquely Star Trek anymore. In Strange New Worlds, when you look at that, it actually does look and feel a lot more like Star Trek. It is its own thing, and you kind of have to do things in that direction when you're managing a brand. And that's where Kurtzman failed, in addition to just making it some big lecture on pronouns in the seasons 3 and 4, which was painful to watch. In the first season, it was definitely too dark in that it was just about this Mary Sue Black lady just kicking Klingon ass all the time. And the Klingons were very weird too. And if you looked at them, they didn't look like Klingons. They looked like generic, angry, dark sci-fi fantasy villains. Kind of orcish. And so they changed the whole feel of everything and made it very un-Star Trek and made the Klingons so they weren't even Klingon. It was really sad to watch. And so that's exactly what happened. They made a bunch of changes to something that was established, and the fans were like, this sucks, and it doesn't even fit because continuity, timeline-wise, none of this makes any sense for what's going on. They changed and did the jump forward in time to the 31st century in the third season to try to mitigate that, I guess, after they brought back their member berries for the second season. But it didn't stick and it didn't work here. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So Rotten Tomatoes critical score, and they always love to talk about the critical scores because it's high critical scores. If you look at The Acolyte this morning, with their quote critical score, it's the highest rated Star Wars ever on Rotten Tomatoes. But if you look at the audience score, it's down at 26%. Viewers hate it, and that's exactly what they're saying here. The audience score was not good on this show whatsoever. People hated it, and we'll pull this up right now to just check in on where it's at this point. And it's looking a lot like the disparity you see in The Acolyte. They have an 84% critical score. The critics loved it. They loved how diverse and inclusive it was. And then the audience was like, this was boring, and they lectured me about pronouns. So you could see that, again, it's not that some people didn't connect with it. It's all people didn't connect with it. And Alex Kurtzman tried to push a political agenda over putting out a good show, didn't listen to the fans, and despite his saying that they changed the tone a little bit, they really didn't. It was really just pretty much the same thing over and over and over again on Discovery. So this is where they completely lie to you, too. We really listened to our fans in the writer's room. Yeah, right. You went out there and you turned season 3 and 4 into this giant lecture about transgenderism and pronouns. You ruined the Trill with that. And it was disgusting, and everybody hated it. And actually, in season 5, they revisited the whole relationship between the transgender Trill and then the non-binary person who spawned out of it, and it was ridiculous. It was so cringy, the worst episode of the entire season. So you didn't do that. You wanted to force your political agenda at every single turn. You wanted to have your strong black lady be better than everybody else out there and lecture all the white people about how stupid they were because she's so wise that she can even break regulations, be a traitor, and then become captain. And that was a ridiculous storyline by itself. It doesn't make any sense. That would never, ever happen in a military function like this, let alone one like the Federation, where they have, a pretty utopic society. Oh my gosh, why wouldn't they just have literally anybody else be captain? But oh well. Everybody will have read a different article or review over the weekend. We talk about what feels relevant and what feels less relevant. Well, they missed the mark on every single level. The tone was bad. The situations were bad. The science fiction was bad. The characters were just nothing to latch onto. And there was just a big gay love fest shoved in your face, which was really annoying to watch. It was not about exploring strange new worlds. It was about exploring Uranus. Not the planet. Oh, okay. I'll fix that in edit. Anyway, we engage in a healthy democratic debate about why and to begin to apply what it seeps into the decisions we make. Well, it didn't work, and it ended up getting canceled because of this. Star Trek Discovery was not meant to end in this season 5. It was not like a planned ending, and that's why the ending felt really tacked on. It felt like it was like this 20 minutes of a wrap-up after the episode was already over. Because Paramount was like, you know what, this is costing too much money. Nobody's watching this. Nobody's liking this. We're just going to get rid of it at this point. And they're still pretending there's 5 seasons is the new way Star Trek's going to be going forward. It wasn't just some kind of abject failure. But he basically admits it here. This is mask off. When they say that it didn't connect with some fans, and you can show that actually all fans hated it pretty much, and all fans were like, this is not what Star Trek's supposed to be. They know that they botched it. They know that they are in the wrong, and they decided to proceed with this anyway, which is very, very bizarre. Now, we'll see what happens in the future. Like I said, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, for its flaws, does actually feel like Star Trek. That's one thing. But are they going to be able to do something decent with the series going forward for Star Trek in anything new that actually doesn't feature the Enterprise and Spock? It seems like that's the only thing they can do and get some ratings for. Strange New Worlds ratings are far better than Discovery's. And, of course, the 2009 films did pretty well. But once you get outside of those established characters that somebody else created, they're not able to create good characters that anybody cares about anymore. And it's all because of their woke agenda. It's all because they hire writers based on race or based on their sexualities rather than based on being good science fiction writers. And we've seen this time and time again. We'll see what happens with the Starfleet Academy series, but I'm not holding out any hope. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out my Justified series on Amazon. We'll be back soon.